how's everybody doing today? Welcome to the vlog number 5. And today's main topic is definitely going to be about recent chemo treatments. Not because they were extra eventful or anything, just that's kind of what is the most relevant thing on the table as far as my cancer is concerned and the progress we've been making so far. And I've heard mixed things. I've heard everything from it's gonna get worse to it stays about the same to it gets better. It's just case by case yet again. So, from the first immuno treatment I got to the first chemo, I would say that it's about the same on side effects. As far as like how I feel, the negative parts. So I wore the machine for 48 hours. I say machine, but really it was just a balloon in a bag, basically. It's basically just a pouch that I wore on my side. And, there wasn't much to it. It went through my Mediport through here. They had it all taped up, and a wire went down to feed it from the pouch into the Mediport, and the balloon pushed it all in at the pace that it needed to be going the entire time. The only things I had to watch out for was that I wasn't sitting on it, laying on it in my sleep, and that it wasn't being covered by clothing or blankets, so the heat and the temperature were right, so it wouldn't release it too quickly. As far as the nausea and things go, in the first 3 hours, I did take quite a bit of anti-nausea stuff after the fact, the next day especially. I was warned about it, and I did feel it a little bit. I definitely felt lethargic for 2 days, and I still feel a little bit groggy. The closest thing I could relate it to is like maybe a little bit of a hangover, but no booze was involved and no fun was involved. So, it's not, we're not over here, um, you know, um, oh, or I mean, even worse, I'm not over here like this right now. Come on, I have to have some fun, right? Anyhow, so there's that. So today, what happened? Now this was this. What I'm going to speak about now is a side effect from the immunotherapy, which was my liver functions have been acting up a little bit, and they've been watching them start to act up when the immunotherapy began. So they had a track of normal liver function to a little bit of a disrupt, and they watched that along with heart health and the rate you're hydrating yourself for diarrhea and electrolytes and magnesium and things like that. So the two things that popped up on mine were diarrhea and liver function on my blood tests, which I go in for every week. The liver function popped up, and immediately prednisone was administered, which we've talked about, to treat that and the diarrhea. So today they went in and did an ultrasound on the liver. The thing that seemed a little bit aloof was that my gallbladder wasn't emptying at a normal rate because I had just had something to eat about an hour before, and typically that means that your gallbladder will empty itself, whereas mine wasn't looking to do that, or it hadn't done that. So she said that was a little bit alarming. She went to my oncologist immediately, who was in office, and they said that was probably normal because of where my cancer being located. Everything drains a little bit slower for me because it's kind of pinching things from draining normally. The digestion, everything is a little bit slower. So with time, it probably would have. But needless to say, I'm supposed to keep a very close eye on it, and I haven't noticed any like pains or anything like that area or in my shoulder, which apparently it can show up in as well. So they are keeping a good eye on it. They did see a trend from the last lab result to a downcline in bad liver levels. So that means that the prednisone is working, and or the lack of immunotherapy is working, and the chemo. Um, we'll see. We'll see where that gets us. It's definitely a different type of treatment now. I definitely can tell in my movements and things that I'm on something different. So it's not as state of the art. But from my research, the most effective treatment, and feel free to back up my hypothesis here, but the most effective treatment for adenocarcinoma stage 3 is the combination of chemotherapy and immunotherapy, which is the end plan. That's what we're aiming to get back on. So once they get the liver stuff figured out, and which of the two immuno, I was on Opdivo and Yervoy, they want to use, they'll go down that track with the chemo. As it stands right now, I'm scheduled for 6 months of the chemo. I go in bi-weekly, and I'll repeat the same procedure I just talked about for 48 hours, and then go back in 2 more weeks, rinse, repeat, 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. So that was that. Pretty simple. Nothing, as long as, nothing crazy happens. I don't see any of this happening, so. Anyhow, so I did want to talk a little bit this vlog about assistance programs and ways that I've been educating myself to do that outside of just GoFundMe. But I don't want to take away from my GoFundMe, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, nothing has given me anything to date outside of insurance, which is my doing, and Medicaid's doing, and taxpayers doing. But not, these extra programs, and maybe this is my fault for not being a little bit more aggressive about it. But nothing has really come to light other than the GoFundMe. So I don't want to take away from it. But things that I'm doing right now is I've enrolled in a class at the Brock Cancer Center to educate me in some of these programs, specifically funded by the American Cancer Foundation, and it's a class for people with specifically esophageal cancer. So it's not just generic. It's people with my type of cancer, and I'm probably going to be the youngest person in the class, meaning that I'll probably not be eligible for half of the things that they are. So we'll see. I say that because I'm definitely an outlier. Most people with this type of cancer are in their 70s. So I look forward to doing it. I have heard of a lot of really good programs available, especially for transportation and nourishment and things of that nature. Those are two huge costs for anybody with this type of cancer: is food and transportation. Because this week alone, I had a doctor's appointment every single day this week in Norfolk, every single day, and that takes a lot of time and resources away from me, my work, and whoever's driving me if I need a ride. And there was plenty of days this week where I needed rides, not only because I was either going under anesthesia or under a treatment where they wouldn't let me drive away from it, or I just wasn't feeling up to it. And I've got more. All over this, I got my first meeting with my general practitioner. Yes, my first one. It actually took me longer to go see a general practitioner, normal doctor appointment than it did for me to have 2 different types of alternative treatments now, and hundreds of lab tests and things. and I still haven't gotten in to see a GP. It's unbelievable how busy the city is with normal doctors. So, if you're in Virginia Beach, which I know some of my viewers are because of Nextdoor and Facebook and things, get your ass to the doctor and get signed up, especially open enrollment, please. You really need to. You really need to. That's the best resource, is get into a doctor. No matter what anybody says. Because without your health, you have nothing. So we're going to learn about some resources available out there. I am not going to talk about any survivor stories today because outside of a couple abstract ones and personal ones that I know of, you know, I want to make sure I do those stories full justice because everyone's story is unique and deserves to be shown in the right light. And, I'm kind of going through a phase right now where I'm transitioning treatments. I'm questioning, how effective things are going. So I don't want to dim away from any of that and not really, do it justice. The same can be said about these assistance programs. Until I see something come to true light from them, I don't want to really deep dive. Until I know for certain that's really an out and an option. I do know for certain that there are plenty and that I'm not taking full advantage of just yet, but I do have full plans of doing it. My esophageal cancer group meets on Tuesdays. I would go to tomorrow's. However, tomorrow is my ride's only day that they have off, and they actually have to go to the hospital for something for themselves. So I'm not going to do it to them. But the following Tuesday, I do plan on going, and I also plan on doing some research on my own in between those times. So there's that. I'm going to talk a little bit about diet right now. What I've been doing is I will make different types of soups and different types of what I like to call like slurries or porridge or whatever you want. And I do this by I'll use like a cream of chicken base, which is something they gave us a lot of in the hospital, but it's good, right? But that's just the base. So I'll take, let's say, some shredded rotisserie chicken, right? And I'll put it in the blender, and then I'll take some let's say a starch, let's say, I don't know, mashed potatoes, or I'll take, I'll put everything from hummus to mashed potatoes to cauliflower soup to broccoli cheddar soup to goat cheese to parmesan to anything, right? And then I'll add my vegetable. I've done everything from asparagus to broccoli to peas to butter beans to whatever. So I have my protein, my vegetable, my starch. And then I'll put the cream of chicken base in there. And I'll usually I read that you should always add a little bit of fat. Keep in mind, I'm trying to go as natural as possible. No artificial anything. I'm using rotisserie whole baked chicken. I'm not using the fake shit. It's fake stuff. So trying to go natural. You want to keep all those pathogens out with cancer. And I'll add a little bit of almond milk, unsweetened, to the whole deal, just to keep it nice and loose. And we'll blend it up. If I feel like it needs a little bit of acidity or salt, I can add cheese, or I can add hummus, like I was saying, or whatever. And that really punches it up. Sometimes I'll do some seafood, and I'll do scallop and shrimp, and then I'll add some clam chowder to it. So basically, a clam chowder base with some extra protein in it. Protein's huge, it fills you up. And all I'm doing here is creating a protein milkshake, if you will, because it's just smooth. I can fit it down my throat, if it's a very small, narrow opening that I have in my esophagus, which might be something that a lot of people with adenocarcinoma can do. Not everyone has that luxury. So if you do have that luxury, give it a shot. It's been working fantastically for me. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's life changing. So, just a good old fashioned blender, and then I'll after I blend it, I'll put it in the microwave, 3 to 5 minutes, like soup, done deal. And that's about it. That's how treatment's been going. That's how my diet's been going. That's what I have planned as far as assistance and liver stuff this week. And I'd say all in all, things are looking okay. Nothing's looking worse. So that's always, no news is good news as far as cancer is concerned. No metastasizing, no new symptoms. What I'm working towards is getting through this treatment to have the surgery done, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much for everyone who has donated. Please check out my GoFundMe link to continue on this journey. It's been a little bit slower recently, but I did get a couple of donations. Thank you so much for those, because they came right at the end of the chemo session, and it was such a massive morale boost. I can't say thank you enough, because that final push was the hardest. So thanks for that eternally. Keep it up. I really do appreciate all of the positive feedback from these vlogs and comments. Feel free to comment, ask me anything you'd like. I love to respond. I love that people are watching. And thanks again. Have a good one.